Hey there, people. Welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits coming to you from sunny Santa Cruz, California. And what a lovely day it is. And let's see who we have in the studio.
If this was an audition, would you accept him?
No.
No?
Fail.
I suck.
No.
Fail.
Emma, you want to show him how it's done?
Hey there, welcome to Motorcycles and Misfits, coming to you from the Recycle Garage in sunny Santa Cruz, California, USA. Who is in the studio tonight? Well, I'm going to fucking tell you, ain't I, eh?
And that's how you do it, Neil.
All right.
Good job.
You just put me on the spot.
Yeah, I know. It's, and she likes doing that.
Yeah.
Hey, everyone, this is Liza.
No shit, Sherlock.
No shirt, shitlock.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
Did you get into the brownies? What happened?
I think I must have done.
Joining me, let's get to who is with me. Joining me, back from a small hiatus, but still as stumpy as ever. It's Stumpy John.
Hey, everybody, better to burn out than fade away.
Okay, now listen, I'm going to broach that subject of burning out because I walked into the studio 10 minutes ago.
Oh, that was pretty awesome, wasn't it?
And to say the smell was
Yeah.
absolutely appalling.
The thing that scares me is there's a slight gasoline smell tinge to John's farts.
You could see it. I mean, there was a green haze when you walked in. And I thought, be brave, Emma, because we've got to go in and record the show. And it just kind of snuck up
No
on
candles. No candles allowed.
you. Oh, my God, no.
In a locked room with John.
No,
You know,
just flat. What the hell do you eat, John?
cherries. It's cherry season in California.
Cuddle.
I can't stop eating cherries.
Okay.
It's a problem.
Well, enough about farts. Who else is here? Well, no, actually,
There's never enough.
it is quite on topic. On the classy girl couch, it's Miss Emma.
Hello, darling. My olfactory senses are somewhat diminished, but I'm going to be strong.
Hey, Emma, pull my finger.
No! Absolutely. No.
All right. But the one true gentleman of the bunch, the one who has never farted in front of me.
Not when it's your turn, darling.
Not that you know of.
It's Neil.
Hey there, party people.
So we were just working on the Harley.
Yeah, you were, weren't you? God, that electrics is just incredible inside the fairing. It's everything, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It still is fun to work. It's fun to work on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It's
essentially
still
simple.
of that era
Yes.
where it's fun to work on. And I realized that I didn't have a low beam. I realized this because I wrote it the other day. I was going home at night and I'm like, oh shit, there's no lights. But the high beam works, so it was not a problem. And I thought, well, I'll look into that. And I got out the little multimeter, did the testing, tested the bulb, it worked, tested the switch.
Yes.
And it worked, meaning there was an output of power to the switch. So I knew all I had to do was go between the handlebar switch
And
and the headlight,
what could go wrong with
which
that?
there's a giant fairing and everything is buried inside.
Has very old school snap fit connectors. Yeah. Well, 1990, right? So
Well, you know what? And a bike of that age, you don't question things like just taking off the handlebar switch cover. Had one slotted screw and one Allen screw.
Yeah, don't question that.
So yeah, something of this age, which I replaced. It's all Phillips now. But you know, there's a long history of things that have been done to that bike, and you find all sorts of like wires that are just snipped off and empty, loose connectors. You're like, everything's working. I'm just not going to question it. But the missing
Link?
the low beam.
Yes.
And so Scotty and Neil jumped in with me and helped me, and we, in no short order, got the ferret off. There's a lot of bolts holding that thing together. A lot of them.
I know there is. However, God, you fell on your feet today.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, no, you really did, because you ordered an
Oh,
incredible...
well, we're not getting into that yet.
Oh, we're not?
Well, let me finish up the Harley. So, yeah, we were able to.
Well, we're done with it. You fixed it.
No.
Now you got a low bit.
No,
yes.
I'm just saying we were able to trace back from the headlight plug, trace wires up, and we found a broken connector. And then we found
It's a disconnected
crimped connector with a wire missing in between. And we found tracing from both ends. With their help, we found it and we put a new jumper wire on, and now it works.
Do you think that missing wire kind of rattled out of the bottom of the fairing at 20,000 miles ago?
Probably.
Who knows? But I enjoy that kind of wrenching. Even though it's a pain in the ass, you got to take apart a lot of stuff.
Right.
But it is fun. But yeah, there was another, this was a very interesting thing. So, John, we had a scooter in today I've never heard of before.
Yeah, as you mentioned that. What was it?
A Honda NHX.
I think that's it.
110?
Oh, wow.
There's NHXs and PCXs.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's a...
Similar vintage to your Harley, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Early 90s?
Yeah, NHX 110. Just a little, I would say put it in with like the spree, just a little kind of.
Yeah, it's a little
very
thing.
simple little scooter. And the kid who was riding it, he'd been here once before. Apparently you helped him resurrect it from the graveyard.
Yeah, came in as non-running. And you remember my mantra, you push it in while you're riding it home. And that applied in this case. We went through the fuel system and I showed him what was what and he rode a home on it. But then today it was a different complaint.
I think this is one of those free bikes.
I think it was.
Yeah. He came in and he says, my front brake is making a lot of noise. And it goes.
What was that again?
That's what it sounded like.
Yes.
And I went, well, I'm pretty sure it's your brake pad. They're designed to do that. But I also looked at the entire front end of it was caked in black oil.
Oh, dear.
Not like black, like liquid that has just gotten so much dirt over the years. It's just turned into a black goo, which I think is coming from the forks.
Probably forks.
And has gone down the forks onto the brake master cylinder and completely coated it in a black, almost like a velvet. Right?
Oh,
yeah, it was a lot.
Vomited all over the caliper.
So I'm like, well, let's just take that off. Let's take it in. Let's clean it. Let's inspect it. I'm pretty sure it's the pads. We go in and he's cleaning it up, and it's fun to again teach somebody on something that's very mechanical and simple. But then we ran into the part where we're trying to get the pistons out. This thing was caked dirt, and that's when Emma jumped in. And you got one piston out.
Got one out very easily, but I mean, it's always the same thing when you're dealing with parts with dissimilar metals. Now, when that caliper was new, the caliper is made out of aluminium. The pistons are chromium-plated steel, and the chrome itself is very, very inert, so that isn't a problem. However, you move forward a few years, and you've got double trouble.
Can you define it inert?
Well,
It's non-reactive.
Yeah, it doesn't react.
Okay.
Now, move forward a few years, and what you've got double trouble, because all the salt in the air that's in a coastal town attacks the aluminium. And aluminium is different because when aluminium corrodes, it actually swells. Aluminium oxide is more voluminous than just cast aluminium. So basically the caliper's already grabbing the piston. However, the chrome gets rusted off the piston and it's normal steel underneath, which is a ferrous metal, which rusts. So the rust is reacting with the corrosion and it just seized up.
Yeah.
And it didn't want to go in, didn't want to come out.
Yeah, it's a little two piston.
And so
that's harder because you can pump one out, but then the other one's stuck.
Well, we tried.
You had hammers and torches. You were pulling out all the things.
Because we
vice grips.
Yeah, everything. And this thing wasn't budging, and we tried the jamming the one piston in and getting the compressed air, and it wouldn't move. It finally succumbed to good old hydraulic pressure because it is quite irresistible.
You should have seen the look on his face when I said, "Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put the compressed air up to that hole in there. We're going to create a cannon." And that thing could shoot out and do some real damage.
Yeah.
And so make sure you have it face down, your fingers aren't in front of it. Okay, here you go. And I handed it to him. And he looked at me like, me? You want me to do it?
Oh, yeah. And
oh, yeah.
And I've seen them go, in the workshop over at Motortown, they go bang. When they go, it scares the shit out of you. And you say you've always got to be careful where this thing's pointing.
Yeah.
And so, of course, on a multi-piston one, you've got one jammed up, and then you've kind of got the air hose in the thing, and you've got it in a vise, and you've got, where the hell am I going to point this thing? Preferably away from you.
Yeah, so it just wouldn't go. So I said, all right, the next step. And as you're going through all these different steps, the odds of injuring yourself or damaging the caliper are going up with each one, right? Em, I think you were almost at the point of welding a bolt to it.
Yeah, and I've done that a lot of times before. So what you do is you weld a bolt into the back of the piston, and then it's just a simple case. You put a large washer against the back of the caliper and just wind it out with a nut, and it just pulls it out. And it's the heat of the welding and so on and so forth. But of course, you need to make sure you have a new piston. But before we did that,
well, I said, well, I got one more shot at this. Let's just hook it back up to the original master cylinder, fill it with fluid, we stuck a hammer handle down into the one side to hold it in place, and just start pumping, and it just came right out.
And that's brake fluid doing its job, because the thing is with air, when you're trying to do something pneumatically, air's squishy.
Yeah.
It's meant to be squishy, whereas brake fluid is meant to be particularly dense and non-squishy. That's the technical term.
Yeah. Plus, you're limited by how much pressure you can get from your air compressor, which is maybe 100 pounds versus several hundred to 1,000 from hydraulics.
We just put an oil pan out there to catch all of it. It worked. So took it in and he cleaned it. And as we're doing this, and Emma had him cleaning these pistons, which are pretty pitted.
They were grody.
And I went, hold on. I have an idea. Now, the NX 250 that I bought, that I've, fixed up, I had assumed, because that front brake caliper was seized when I went to pick it up, I just assumed something that sat for 10 years, that the pistons would have been seized like this, right? Wouldn't you assume that, Emma?
Yeah.
So I had ordered a caliper rebuild kit with pistons, which is no easy feat for that bike, because it was a 1-year bike here, and I had to order it from England. So it cost me about $100. The crazy thing is, caliper rebuild kits are not that expensive, but when you get pistons, just these little cylinders, boy, that price goes up.
Especially nice stainless steel piston.
Yeah. So I had bought this kit, but it turned out when I rebuilt the NX that the pistons were in good shape, and that everything in there was good shape. I just had to clean it, put it back together. It's working. So I'm like, what are the odds that this NX 250 caliper rebuild kit is the same? So I pulled it out, showed it to Emma, who sized them up, and she's like, wow.
There you go.
There you go. So I sold the kit to the kid who rebuilt his caliper. He still needs to get new brake pads, but
which he's got coming. So,
the one you bought for your bike out of England fit the kid's bike.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Fit exactly this very weird Honda scooter I've never seen before.
Serendipitous.
Well, not really, because they use the Nissan brake calipers.
Right.
Yeah.
These are things off the shelf.
Yeah.
And it just happened that this 250cc dirt bike and this 110cc scooter, same exact caliper. I'm talking every bit of rubber, every piece on it fitted.
Would you like to know the biggest manufacturer of CDIs in Japan?
Nippon.
No.
Bosch.
No.
That's not Japan.
I'll give you a clue. It's a car manufacturer.
Kawasaki.
Mitsubishi.
Yep.
Oh.
Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi are the number one manufacturer. In fact, your Abomination has a Mitsubishi CDR on it, as does
Are you
your
talking about the
V-Strom.
Nikon?
The Nikon. You know, every time I ride that Nikon, I'm reminded what an abomination it is. It may be the best bike I've ever ridden.
Emma, you once again asked to take it out for a ride today.
You must be this tall to ride the Nikon.
You obviously love that Nikon.
I absolutely love it. And everywhere you park it, you always get, you'll get people walking back, and then you'll just get the one person who's like, will glance at it, look away, and then just stop in their tracks and walk back. And so I was in Five Guys getting us some lunch. So to our European friends, Five Guys do very nice hamburgers and better French fries. I mean, Five Guys French fries are the best. I think it's an East Coast chain, isn't it?
Washington, I think, D.C.
Yeah, it started in D.C., but we got them in California, and the food's very fatty and greasy, but it tastes good. So I was in Five Guys observing your bike across the street, and this kid, he was looking at it, and you could tell it was like, what the hell is this thing?
Yeah.
But he was giving an eyeful. No, I love your bike.
Well, let's take a second right now, because we've flirted with the idea of you buying it off of me. I love it too. It is a wonderful bike, but I've got plenty of bikes, and I'm not using it as it should be used.
Yes.
And we know you famously like to lowball people. So I have a question for you.
I know.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
If we were to negotiate a value, would you use my purchase price as the value of which you're negotiating down from? Or would you use what is only available to buy elsewhere in the United States right now?
Well, that's a good question, because the market is quite awful right now.
Is it for Nikons?
I'd like to see sold Nikons, because there's a difference between asking price.
I'll tell you something.
Yes.
There is a Nikon for
Yes.
sale right now.
Yes.
A Nikon.
Yes.
I believe they're asking $12,900.
Oh, I'd offer less than half that. Less than half.
I'm just saying, the price is going up.
That doesn't mean it's selling. Because the rarity.
Yes. It is a rare bike.
Well,
and there's only one. When I bought mine, there were like 5 available in the country. Right now, there's 1 for sale. So does that not drive the value up?
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm just saying, do you want to negotiate?
It's got to be a future collective item, right?
Well, you see, it's so difficult to...
It's a 1-year bike in the United States, but not in Europe and Asia, so parts are available.
Including the front tires?
Oh, no, I just supplied her with tires.
Yeah.
Did I not get you Pilot Road 4s for it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
Well,
do you want to negotiate right now?
No. No.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm absolutely certain.
All right.
And the biggest hurdle, much as I love that bike, and I'm reminded how much I love Rufus because I rode him today, is, in effect, if I bought the Nikon, that means Rufus would have all his fluids drained out of him, and he'd live in my living room for the rest of his natural life.
It's
and I'm
not a bad
sure...
thing, because it's a bike of a certain age that it deserves to be preserved.
Yeah, but...
Because the value's only going up on that with the less mileage it has. You need a bike that you can put miles on.
But it's a motorcycle. It's not an ornament. And it doesn't make sense to me to have 2 vehicles that do the same job.
Yeah, but, if you're going to do long distance like you just did, a bike with a full luggage system and a nice comfortable seat
and 3 wheels
and all the things. I'm just going to throw this out there. I am taking into account that there's only 1 for sale, and that is for much more than what I paid for it.
Much more.
I am going to be kind and say, if you want to buy it for what I paid for it, I would let you have it at that price.
How much was that?
10 grand.
Oh, babbling from the sick bed.
Okay.
babbling from the sickbed. No, honestly, this is not only is it banana oil, it is grade A banana oil. That's easily $4,000 too much.
Banana oil?
Banana
Based
oil.
on what?
Never heard of that.
Based on
What you're willing to pay.
Yeah, based on what I'm willing to pay. I mean, I famously lowball people. You know that.
Right.
Don't make me pee in the airbox, because I will.
Yeah, I'm hiding the keys.
But yes, I do love that bike.
You do?
Yeah, I really do.
It's waiting for you. I'm just letting you know.
I don't know
price
whether,
seems to be going up.
I don't know whether I $10,000 love it. Anyway, moving along.
I figured it was worth trying.
No,
I was surprised when I looked up because the prices of things are going down, but not the Nikon. So, hey, I wanted to make some announcements, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the first one is, well, actually, both of them. These are for the ladies. Gentlemen, I'm sorry you're not invited to either.
I have
of
one for the
these.
gentleman afterwards.
You have something for the gentleman?
I do.
Except
Bet you do, John.
I know that there's a lot of dudes listening to the show. So what I'm going to ask is, any women riders in your life, if you could pass the word on to them, because I'm relying on you to help spread the word. So the first thing is, in September, I'm going to a really cool thing in Poland, Maine. Have you heard of Poland, Maine?
No.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of cities up there that are named after like places in Europe. For the WEMA rally, and WEMA stands for Women's International Motorcycle Association.
I've heard of that.
And this is women from around the world are coming to the U.S., and Maine was chosen for the location. It's beautiful there. There's beautiful rides. There's lighthouses. There's covered bridges. There's
Lobsters.
Do you know about leaf peeping?
Yeah.
It's a little early for leaf peeping, but, it's a thing. Have you heard of that, Emma?
Peep leafing?
No, leaf peeping.
Same thing.
When the fall colors come.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm putting the word out. If there's any women who'd like to attend the rally, there's going to be a lot of people there. Myself, Haley is bringing the baby over. She's going to be there.
Oh, that's fun.
We're doing a WRWR reunion. Our friend Wendy Crockett, she's going to be there. Tons more. It's going to be really cool. So, if you're interested in coming out, you can go to WEMA, WIMA-USA.com and look for the WEMA USA rally. But then the second announcement is related to this. So I mentioned that this is September 8th through 13th.
Yes.
Well, I'm going to be unveiling something at the WEMA rally that I'm pretty proud of.
Oh, your new surgery, your plastic surgery. Yes.
My new nose. No, this is something I haven't talked a lot about. I think I made a small announcement a few weeks back about the WRWR, the Women Riders World Relay, that for those who've been with me for a while, was a relay that we did in 2019 of women passing a baton from woman rider to woman rider that went around the world. It took 1 year, went to like 78 countries, and was the world's largest motorcycle relay. And it ended in London, England, 1 week before the world shut down, March of 2020. And since then, women have been asking me, hey, when are you going to do this again? When are we going to do it again? For those of us who were behind the scenes that made it happen, I mean, Emma, you were there when I was doing this. You remember, it was a lot of work.
It was a huge amount of work.
It was basically 6 months of planning and then a year of the event. So a year and a half where a handful of us took on full-time jobs for free to see this happen. And it was well worth it. And the thing that's really cool is a lot of people's lives were changed. They met people who are now close friends. There are people who got into relationships and moved to other countries. There are people, few women who've said they became instructors, ride instructors since then, because they wanted to get more women on the road, and they loved that they were given that confidence. So we're coming back for 2026, and we're doing things different. I've been designing an app that's going to be used for the World Relay. And the way it works is the app is free. Anyone can get the app. Men or women can get the app. Men will be restricted from some of the like message boards and stuff because women are going to be arranging meetups and stuff like that. And this is really for women riders, but we're not restricting men in that sense. And we're going to have every country will have one ambassador who will be given a digital baton. And on January 1st, 26, they're going to start passing the baton virtually to women and sharing it. But instead of giving it away, like where it leaves your phone, you can share it with as many people as you can. And now all those people can share it with as many women as they can. So, you know, if you share it with 10 women who share it with 10 women, that's now 100. Who share it with 10 women, that's now 1,000.
Right.
And we're going to watch it spread. And every time somebody passes the virtual baton, it's going to light up on the globe. And so you're going to be able to check in on the app and see each country lighting up as these batons are being shared. And we're trying to get every country on board. Every country, which is a huge task. We just had somebody apply to be an ambassador to a country I've never heard of that I had to look up on the map to see where it is. Timor-Leste. Have you heard of it?
Timor, I've heard of.
Timor-Leste?
It's West Timor. It's off the north coast of Australia.
Yeah, it's between Indonesia and Australia.
Yeah.
I have to look these things up. And as we get it spreading around each country, as soon as somebody from one country meets somebody from another country who are both baton holders and they share, then it's going to light up both of those countries gold to show that they are now part of the global network. So we want to reach every country. We want to reach every woman in each country. And then we want to connect every country to the global network in 1 year, which is a huge goal.
I think that is a huge goal. But you shared with me what I immediately thought. I thought, no, this is an unrealistic goal. But actually, I think you might actually get it, that you wanted Women Rider World Relay really to touch every woman
rider in the world.
In the world.
That is our goal.
And I think you might actually achieve that.
So we're creating this app that's going to be free to everyone to use. Within the app, there's going to be other features to get people to keep coming back. Things like challenges, some ride challenges, some trivia challenges, some industry challenges where they can get points, and we'll have scoreboards, stuff like that. There's going to be virtual garage where you can list your bikes. There's going to be gear reviews. There's going to be collector cards. There's going to be all this interactive stuff. But really the core of it is the map and watching these lights lighting up the globe. So that is what I've been working on. And we're going to be soft launching the app at the WEMA Rally in September, start sharing it, and then the relay starts on January 1st.
That's awesome.
So if there's any women out there listening to this, or men, if you have a woman in your life who rides, please share with them to go to womenridersworldrelay.com, or you can go to wrwrapp.com and sign up for the newsletter to be notified when the app is out and what you can do with it. And we're going to be doing so much stuff with it. But yeah, we've already got so many new things we're going to add to it after it. Like, you have to hold back. You need to have new releases, things like that. So I can't talk about all the other features, but you know, it's really an app for bikers. And that's why, like, anyone can use it.
Right.
It's just the men can't use it to arrange meetups, or they can't have a baton, but you can do challenges and you can use the virtual garage and all that stuff. So I'll be announcing more when it's coming out and letting people try it out.
That's great.
Yeah. So yeah. What's the thing you got for the dudes?
Well, it's actually for anybody. Neil and I are going to do a trip up to the Lost Coast and up through extreme Northern California. So it's going to be July 7th through the 11th. And we're going to rendezvous. If anybody wants to come along, we'll rendezvous up at the Lost Coast. That'll be the starting point, and then we'll go from there.
Where's that?
Lost Coast is about 30 miles north of Fort Bragg on the northern coast of California.
Where's that?
So you head up 101, go north of Ukiah, hit Willits, turn left, and head to the
A
coast.
couple hours
There you
north
go.
of San Francisco.
It's about 3.5 hours from here.
So this will be camping only. So bring your stuff with you. It's kind of rustic, camping off the bikes. And I've done this trip before. It is a beautiful part of the country. It's so worth going to, and it's the perfect time of year to do it. So
I used to live up in Ukiah, so I
yeah.
Starting with the Mendocino coast, you go back past Glass Beach and a couple of nice beaches and into
of course you missed it, but I was just up there.
I heard that. Yeah. It's
last
beautiful,
week.
isn't it?
It's absolutely my favorite place to
And we'll
ride
go
in.
through the
Avenue of the Giants.
Avenue of the Giants and all that stuff,
Yes,
so,
all those things.
So anybody, if you're interested in coming along, everybody's welcome. Bring your stuff. You can email me at john@bigthumpers.com, john@bigthumpers.com, and we'll hook you up with all the details.
I think after this evening's performance, Big Thumpers is the noise your arse makes.
That's where that's where it came from.
Honestly. Anyway.
So let's talk about the nature of the ride. So I'm going to be on my V-Strom, and John, you're riding your Tiger, right?
That's the plan, yeah.
Yeah. So it's not going to be intense bashing and baby heads and things like that.
No. It will be graded dirt roads, about 40%.
Yeah. So if you've got something with a decent ground clearance,
decent tires,
and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about how I ended up with Harley Davidson.
Yeah, how did you end up with
And
a
it's
Harley?
all related. Well, here's the deal. Remember a couple months back, I had said I'm looking for like an old Honda Shadow because these old Metric Cruisers of like the 80s, 90s era are at their lowest value ever, and they're the perfect bike to chop up and turn into something fun and stupid because you can't make it worth less. They're at rock bottom. They have no value whatsoever. So I've been looking. But you know what I've been coming across as in my search for cheap cruisers? Harley Davidsons.
Yep.
Harley Davidsons as cheap cruisers. In fact, they've gotten down into Honda Shadow prices.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say, Emma?
Very close.
Now, because of that, we started around the shop talking about Sportsters. John has one.
Mm-hmm.
There was someone else who got a Sportster. Emma, you don't have a Sportster.
No, everyone calls it a Sportster, but it is in fact a Dyna.
It's a Dyna.
Yeah.
You're a Dyna bra?
Yeah, I'm a Dyna bra.
But
brother, sister.
oh, you know what? One of my kids, my best friend's kid, I call him my nephew.
That's right.
He ended up getting an $800 Sportster that needed like a throttle cable. $800, and he had it running. And then, of course, his buddy just found like a $2,000, like a chopper Sportster running that he came home with. And I'm like, wow, what's up? So I started looking at Sportsters, and we started talking about Sportsters and why they're so cheap. And I think, and tell me if you disagree, John, because you're a Harley guy. I think it's because they are the redheaded stepchild of the motorcycle world.
Nobody likes them. Harley people don't like them.
Harley people
Non-Harley
think
people
that
don't like
they're the lady bikes or
Exactly.
the beginner bikes or,
Nobody likes them.
and non-Harley riders think that all Harleys are stupid
Exactly.
for the most part.
Yep.
And so these Sportsters they're worth nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. In fact, Emma, I had typed in on Facebook Marketplace, Harley's under $3,000. Would you say that's into
Yeah.
metric cruiser prices, right? And we were looking at one after the other and some of these I'm looking at don't need work. I'm talking about maintained, starts right up.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like $1,200 and up.
So let's draw a distinction. So
Yeah.
883s are one thing, 1200s are another.
Are they?
I think so. Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah. The 1200 has considerably more power, and it's more of a serious bike, whereas 83
I don't.
light on power, good bike, but not terribly exciting to ride.
No, I
if
don't
not
agree.
pleasant.
I don't agree. I think it's two sides of the same coin, and I think the 883 is a solid bike. You know, I mean, the once you get into 1200, you might as well just get a Dyna. Truthfully.
Okay, so I'm looking at some of these, and let me bring some of these up. So there's some really good prices. We were looking in the garage. Really clean bikes. Let's see. And here's a question I have as we're looking at these, Emma.
Yes.
And just to give just some pretext. Right now, if you go on a Harley Davidson website and look at new bikes,
Yes.
they don't have the Sportster that we know of.
No, it's the new sport.
Evo is done.
The new Sportster, the Nightster.
Yes.
And they run around, I think, this was interesting. If you look at 2024 prices,
yes,
I think it was about $13,900.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at 2025 prices, it's $12,500.
Right.
They all went down. Isn't that interesting?
Yes.
And they do have something called the Sportster S, which is it's a cool looking like muscle bike.
Yeah.
But the thing I find interesting when you go under Harley Davidson, you're looking under the different categories of riding. This is listed as sport bike.
It's got that hot engine in it, though. It's the same engine that's in the Pan America. So it's not the same as the Evo engine. It's definitely got more performance.
It's a different state of tune. They're 120 horsepower versus 150.
But
even so, I mean, it's much more than 70. It's in a 1200.
So I'm looking at Sportsters, and Emma and I were talking about at what point, Emma, because Sportsters have been around a long time, at what point do they become collectible and cool?
I don't think you can define it as a period in time because you're always going to have periods or models within that is cool, that is not cool. And that brings me to your point, Neil. I mean, you're elevating the 1200 to more than it is. You know, yes, it's a stouter engine, but I don't think it's massively more desirable than an 883.
No, but it's a step up, and it's because it is a 1200. It's a little bit more than.
But that's the whole thing. It's a little bit more. I mean, they're both very legit bikes.
For instance, John, I'm looking right here, and this one is in Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Oh, good.
A 1984 Sportster 1000 for $1,800. It fires right up. Now, is that cool to you, John?
Yeah, it actually is. I like the older ones.
Yeah, and that'd be a really stout looking bike. I don't like it because it's got the changed frame on it, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But great bike.
The thing about it is you got to take Sportsters for what they are. They're not race bikes. They're not touring bikes. They're kind of like around town's bobber.
I mean, it's like a stoplight cruiser thing.
Don't hop it up. You're not going to get much out of it. Just leave it alone, and that's all it is.
Here's an 883. It's a 2002 883 for $2,500. That is very good looking. Wouldn't you say, John?
Yeah, it's not. That one's not the rubber mounted one, but yes.
But I'm just comparing. $2,500.
Yeah.
Right.
Runs great. A red 883, and then right next to it is that was a 2002, or you can get a 2001 Honda Shadow for $2,200. We're in Shadow prices.
Yeah.
Well, you know who else knows something about the Sportsters?
Who?
You know our friend Chris Comley?
Who?
You know that nut job?
That guy?
He likes to ride long distances.
That guy
on
with the
stupid bikes.
Vintage two-stroke Suzuki and the Harley Sportster that's done a cajillion miles.
Not just that. He has a scooter. Well, let's ask him about it. Chris, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, how are you?
Hello, Chris.
Hello, I'm tired, but I'm here.
Well, you want to tell everyone exactly where you are and why you're there.
I think I'm in Pendleton, Oregon, and I just finished the first day of the Scooter Cannonball, and I covered 500 miles on my 2024 Yamaha X-Max 300.
Oh, you're on an X-Max. Good-o. How's it treating you?
So far, so good.
Yes, good bike.
Yes.
So, Chris, we're talking about Sportsters and how they just have the market has dropped out because nobody loves them. You love Sportsters, don't you?
That's why I own 2 of them.
You're the nut job. What kind of Sportsters do you have and what year?
I've got my 06, which Emma's seen. That's the one that's got 330,000 miles on it.
Yep.
I've ridden in 4.5 Iron Butt Rallies, and I've got a 2000, a lovely pearl yellow 2007 Sportster, which you've seen, Liza, at AMA Vintage Days, which I think I've got like 60,000. I forget how many miles on that one.
So why do you think that nobody loves a Sportster?
I haven't followed the prices of the older ones. I mainly followed the rubber mounts. And the prices have been where they are now for a while. Why do they not like them? I think it's a couple of things. I think it's, the non-Harley crowd. It's a Harley, and I don't like Harleys. And the Harley crowd is, it's only a Sportster. They want the heritage. They want the big dresser.
I think that's such a shame because the Sportster is a very, very legitimate bike in its own right. And if you want to talk about history, it's got every inch. It's got a far longer history than the Electroglide. It's got a far longer history than the Superglide, far longer history than the Lowrider. So it goes on.
Yeah,
it's 1957, I believe.
Well, we're going to go back a little bit before that in a while, Chris. Yeah.
Like I'm looking at an 04 Sportster 1200. Good looking bike. Yeah, John?
Yeah, it was fun.
$3,000. This is in Iowa. I mean, everything I'm looking at is under $3,000.
And 04 is going to be your first year for rubber-mounted engines, so it may be a rubber-mounted one.
With 10,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
So here's the crazy thing, and people might find this shocking to hear from me, but I am going to say, go out and buy a Sportster now. Now's the time. The market is wonderful right now, and there's so many things you can do with a Sportster.
It's true.
I mean, well, Chris has shown you can do touring on it, right?
Right.
Yep.
I mean, you can put saddlebags and everything, turn it into our friend Jay here. He's got one.
Yes.
It's all kitted up for touring, windshield, everything.
Yeah.
I've seen them with dirt bike tires and a dirt bike, suspension and handlebars.
It's a popular hill climber motor.
Mike McCarthy has one, and he swapped out the front end with a Gixxer front end.
Yeah. It looks like a total thug bike. Yeah. It's great. And we've seen them done like Paris-Dakar bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, full-on dirt bikes. You can turn it into a dirt bike. You can bob it, chop it, flip it, flap it, whatever you want.
Can rake it out.
I think that's the big difference between a Sportster and the rest of the Harleys is Sportster owners tend to take it and actually customize it rather than just simply bolt chrome or bolt
right
onto it. They do. They'll take a Sportster off the showroom floor, and it can be anywhere from a bobber to a touring bike to, as you said, Liza, a dirt bike or a scrambler. They do everything to them.
Yeah. So
I forget what John has. John, is it a 48 you have?
Yeah, I have a 48.
Yeah. I have friends of mine that, 10 years before, 15 years before the 48 came out, they were putting that wider front tire on it. They're taking the front wheel off of a Heritage, throwing it on a Sportster. So it's, they do crazy things with these bikes.
So yeah, I'm actually changing it up. I'm saying, forget about the old metric cruisers. Buy a Sportster. I mean, that's how I ended up with an Electroglide because I've been watching the prices on Facebook. And when I saw this Harley for $25, well, they were asking like $3,700, but I did what Emma does. I have $2,500 and a trailer and can be there immediately. And I got sure, come on down.
Yep.
And Emma, you wrote it.
No, it's great.
Well, you wrote it before I wrote it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still just doing little things, fixing it up. But no, it's all complete. It's all there. It rides great.
Yeah.
Working stereo.
All the things.
I like to jam the tunes.
Yeah, you got to play your show tunes while you're riding a Harley. Do you
so
play?
that's how I ended up with it, because I've been monitoring the prices of Harleys, and I'm like, this is so cheap. Unfortunately, the prices dropped on old electric glides too, to about Sportster prices.
I think, to be fair, yours is a very good example in a sea of not so good electric glides. And whoever gets your bike is going to get an enormously good running bike, because most 30-year-old electric glides are not doing so good anymore.
Problem
That's why
is,
they're cheap.
I have found ones similar with half the mileage for the same
Mileage,
price.
I was going to say mileage, it's all down to maintenance. I think, truthfully, before you got your mitts on it, or even the previous owner, that was quite a well taken care of bike. It runs remarkably well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you originally fixed it up, and it wasn't cleaned or anything, but you said, oh yeah, this is worth $5,000-$6,000, right?
Oh yeah, easy.
Big,
I would have
Victorian
thought,
bike.
as soon as I fired it up and I heard how sweet that engine was, and it shifts well, and the brakes are great, and it steers straight. I mean, it has to be.
Chris, let me ask you: a 1990 Electra Glide with, I think, like 82,000 miles. Everything works.
Not a murmur out the engine. It's sweet as
what do you
a nut.
think it's worth?
I haven't followed them, so I
just want your perception. What do you think it's worth?
You could probably get 5 out of it.
Yeah, I've had it listed for $3,900.
Really?
Yep, $3,900, and there are bikes similar for less.
How many bites have you gotten on that?
Okay.
I mean, real bites.
You're starting. I'm gonna get into my rant now.
Okay.
Do it.
Just want to get this out.
Yes.
Something that I am not happy about.
Oh dear.
I had one person reached out to me Friday and said, the whole, is it still available? I'm like, yes, it is. Do you want to see it? And then they said, yeah, when can I come see it? And I said, I'm available right now. And then he said, how about tomorrow? I'm like, sure. What time? He goes, well, what time works for you? I'm like, I'm available all day. What works for you? And he said, morning. Okay. How about 9:30? And then nothing. So then I'm like, wait, are we doing this? And then I said, can you please confirm you're coming tomorrow at 9:30? And an hour later, he said, yes. Great. So the next morning, I cancel my plans. I get up, go out, get the bike ready, get the garage open, waiting. Doesn't show up. I had sent a, hey, let me know when you arrive message, unanswered. At 9:45, I send the, are you coming or not? Because I thought maybe they're in beach traffic, you know? No response. Has not responded to this day. And this is something that, I don't know, sometimes you guys in the garage tell me, yeah, this is how it is these days. This is how it works on Facebook. People just blow you off. And I do not accept that. I do not accept being disrespected like that. And I will never accept that.
Oh.
I did send him a snappy little message, I will say.
Would you like to say what you sent him?
I just said that I just want you to know that I canceled my plans for you, and I found it completely disrespectful. You didn't have the decency to let me know you were not coming.
What an absolute rotter.
I had that experience selling a truck a few years ago. Actually on, it was on eBay, and eBay was no help at all at the time.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is my rant. Please, people, be better than that. Communicate. That's all I ask.
But on the other side of the coin, for a buyer, I can hear a cat at the door.
As a child.
Oh, is it a child?
But I priced it to sell. I want it out of my garage.
But the point is this: if you're a buyer, if you make arrangements to buy a vehicle and you show up on time and you have a reasonable facsimile of the price that's going to be asked, you're going to end up with that bike. Because there are so many flaky people about. The chances are, if you go to see a bike or a car or a boat or whatever, that person, if it's been on Craigslist, if it's been on Facebook Marketplace, has endured weeks of being ignored or weeks of flaky people like Liza encountered. And so you show up when you say you're going to show up with the cash, you're going to get a bargain.
So I think maybe
So
my
your advice as a buyer is take your time, be fair, and keep your commitment.
Well, I'll tell you what I do. Like when I bought this bike and when I bought the NX, I set a time and then I said, leaving the house now, see you soon, to let them know I'm coming. And then I said, I'm here. I just communicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you are all about punctuality.
I know.
I will give you that.
Here's another one, John. I know it's not your favorite, the 883, but here's a nice, clean 08 Sportster for $2,800. Again.
So $2,800
Honda Shadow price.
Yeah.
Probably get it for $2,000.
Yeah. And 2008, you're going to get rubber mounting. You're going to get fuel injection.
Yep.
So it's going to be a really nice riding, fuel injected, rubber mounted Sportster. It's going to be something you can ride and enjoy.
Yeah. And here's a.
So what's the cutoff year for rubber mount?
04.
04?
Well, here's
And fuel injection?
07.
Here's an 04 1200 with luggage for $3,000. Nice clean bike.
With luggage.
A nice clean bike. So I'm saying go out and buy a Sportster. Chris, you said you got
one more point in favor of the Sportster. If you're of an older age like me, you remember a TV show called Then Came Bronson.
Yeah.
And what did he ride? A Sportster.
Oh, look at you pulling out deep dive. Well, Chris, you said you've got two Sportsters. Why do you have two?
My 07 was a backup bike for my 06.
But why do you need a backup bike?
Well, because the bloody miles he does.
Because I do 4,000 or 5,000 mile week-long trips on a regular basis, and if the bike's down at the last minute, I wanted something similar that I could just hop on. With rallies, the same thing. If I'm competing in a rally, I want to ride the same bike that's set up the same way, because I can. This sounds bad, but I can ride it in my sleep. I know where every control is, everything is. I don't have to look for it.
So the same reason that Wendy's got 6 FJs.
God, is she up to 6 now?
So down to 6? She's down to 6? I'm not sure.
Is she down to 6?
So your one's got 300,000 miles plus. Is it one engine or how many engines is that?
So the first engine blew. I lost the first engine at 206,000 miles.
That's pretty darn good.
And that was partially my fault. I had the main shaft bearing, the cage cracked on it. So I split the cases, replaced all the bearings, put it together. And unfortunately, when I put oil in it, I got there's a little cardboard seal in the cap of an oil.
Oh, no.
That fell into the oil tank, and I didn't realize it. That's what killed my first engine.
Oops.
It was not burning any oil. It needed valve guides or valve seals, but other than that, it was running great. I could still, before it melted down, I could still see the cross hatching in the cylinders. So then I put a engine that had about 16,000 miles on it. That was a week before the 2017 Iron Butt Rally. And I got that in, and that engine is the one that I killed in 2023 during the Iron Butt Rally when my primary chain snapped and it cracked the case. So that's why I've gone through engines. So I would have loved to have known how many miles are in the original engine, but I'll never know.
So that brings up an interesting point. So Emma's here. She can speak to which bike is easier to work on and maintain, a big twin or a Sportster.
Oh, Sportster by far.
Yeah, there are quirks to them, yeah. Sportster in a lot of ways is a little more complicated because at the end of the day, you got 4 camshafts and all the drive that camshafts require. So that is complicated. However, everything's more compact. It's essentially a smaller, more compact version. Yeah, I think I'd rather work on a Sportster.
Well, I mean, it is.
Neither are complicated machines.
Yeah, it's the least complicated, the simplest.
Except you got to have 2 sets of tools, which pisses me off to no extent.
Well, yeah, when you get to a certain year, you need the metric and the freedom units and.
Well, Emma, I would like to hear
Yes.
about the history of the Sportster. It's got interesting history. But
Ooh.
before you do that,
Yes.
I want to take a little side trip.
Yes.
Chris, are you going to Vintage Days this year?
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'd love to, but I'm not sure if I can make it.
I have a proposition
Ooh,
for you.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And in fact, this proposition is going to be for you and any other misfits listening right now who are planning on attending Vintage Days. Because as Chris knows, we have the whole neighborhood there. That last row that's full of misfits and Cleveland Meadow guys. I am the only misfit going this year. So I am looking for stunt misfits to join me to do interviews around Vintage Days.
Ooh,
Oh,
Chris, would you be
You're killing me.
interested?
problem is I'm trying to move. That's why I'm not sure. And we're having a housewarming party the weekend before. So I need to see what my schedule's like. I can't answer right now.
You know what? The offer stands. So if there's anyone
you.
else who's planning on attending Vintage Days who would like to join me in doing some interviews, as you all know, we like to walk around, meet interesting people, and just interview them and find out all the stories. So I'm looking for stunt misfits to join me on that adventure. So let me know if you're going to be around. Send me an email at motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com so we can coordinate. You know where to find me. And I think that would be fun. Don't you think, Emma?
Oh, I think that'd be lovely.
I mean, you've done it with me before. John's done it. You did it at the one show.
Mhm.
Why not some of the regular misfits who come and attend? I thought that would be fun to get their perspective.
Well, I mean, if you've been listening to the show long enough, you know exactly how we operate. So, you know, it's basically thuggery. So, you know, you find your mark and then you just batter them into telling you what you want.
Yeah.
It's
Chris,
quite easy.
do you know Stephanie's coming?
I can find out.
Well, Stephanie, if you're listening, come on, be a stunt misfit. So, on that note, Emma,
Hello.
the Sportster. So we're talking about the Sportster, and I said that if you go to the Harley page, it is listed as the sport bike, a standard by which none of us would.
What?
At this,
No, yeah, but
none of us would refer to it as a sport bike.
But you've got to understand why the Sportster existed in the first place.
Well, let's hear. Why is it referred to as a sport bike?
It's in the name. It's literally the first part of the name.
It says sport, therefore it is.
So, but what you've got to understand
That's like
is,
saying because I put on a tracksuit, I'm a runner.
well, I mean, you look the part. No,
The one
what,
time you were.
what you need to understand is what
Work
the
on your
word.
Russian.
I'm sorry.
She's going to wear tracksuit. She needs to work on her Russian.
Yeah, very good. There you go. But what you need to understand is what the motorcycle landscape looked like in America in 1957, which is when the Sportster came out. And the motorcycle landscape in 1957, Indian had gone, but they hadn't gone long. They'd only been gone a couple of years. So there was still plenty of Indians around, big bikes. You know, Indian never got beyond the 3-speed transmission. Did you
mean
know that?
like the big classics?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Never got beyond 3-speed.
I
I
mean,
mean,
behind me
An
somewhere.
owner will tell you
You've got a
that
couple of Indian 4s up there.
Yeah.
an owner will tell you that an Indian will cruise
3 of them,
quite
in fact.
happily at 90
Right.
miles an hour in third gear.
Good I found.
So I know what you found. We're going to talk about that. Don't get ahead of yourself, Liza.
Oh.
I seriously considered one of those at one point.
So, Harley Davidson basically had what we know as the Big Twin. Tons of imports. The Bonneville hadn't been invented yet. The Bonneville came, as we know it, in 59. But that means that doesn't mean that Triumph didn't have high-performance models. They had Thunderbirds, they had Speed Twins. BSA had the Road Rockets. Norton had the Dominators.
So you had these big bikes, but these...
I mean, these are
Yeah, no,
500,
these are all big bikes.
650cc twin-cylinder high-performance bikes.
But then you had...
And then there was this huge leap to this giant lump that was a Harley Davidson
Yeah.
or an Indian.
Yeah.
So Harley's like, Well, we need something to compete with the English twins. And the Sportster was a natural choice, because what people don't understand, the Sportster, which was the XL, experimental light.
Ooh.
Oh.
Did you know that, Chris?
No, I did not.
Oh.
XL is experimental light, was actually derived from a bike they already had in their lineup. So we've been talking about 1957. We're going to go back another 5 years. We're going to go back to 1952.
That means, John, you're wearing your T-shirt size?
Yeah.
Extra experimental light.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what it stands for. So if we go back
Emphasis on the
to
mental.
1952, we had, there's plenty of money around in America. Plenty of people who were enjoying motorcycling that wanted a slightly smaller version of the Harley. And so Harley came up with the K-Series. And what the K-Series, it was a very, very interesting bike. It was a flathead engine, so it kind of looked like a side valve engine, V-twin, 45 cubic inch, and it had this unit construction, which basically means that the engine and the transmission were molded into one piece. Supposedly helped with oil retention. It certainly made the thing more compact. And they were great bikes, not really pitched as a performance bike. It was just a lightweight alternative, but it did have some performance derivatives. So I'll give you a bit of a timeline. So in 1952, you could buy the Model K. And the Model K, 45 cubic inch, which is 750 cc in import units. So in 53, 1 year after, you get the KK,
No.
which was...
You got to be careful with that one.
So the...
Did it only come in
Oh, no,
light?
we're not adding any more. So the KK was a Model K with the K package on it. And the K package on it were cams and big valves. Just gave you a little more power. When you talk about the K bikes, a lot of people remember the KH. And the reason for the KH, which came out in 54, it was the first use of the 883 engine.
Mm.
Now remember, it's still a flathead, but it became the larger engine. And that engine, whether it's expressed as 883 or 900cc, it basically lasted a long, long time in the lineup. And that was one of the most long-lasting CCs of any size. It came out, I got it written down here actually, in freedom units, 45, I think it was 51 cubic inches, I want to say. Something like that. Anyway, another derivative is the KHK, which would be an 883 with the K package, which is the cams and valves. Then you've got the KR.
Race.
Right. And the KR designation, certainly in 750 form, lasted well into the 70s. I'm sure you used to see the KRs race, John.
Mm-hmm. I did.
And then you've got the KRTT, which is for road racing, tourist trophy. So there's our K bikes, and that really set the stage for the Sportster. So really, if you want to talk about the Sportster, you've got to talk about his dad.
I just wanted to say the 1957 Sportsters are my favorite. They look so good.
Oh, aren't they gorgeous?
So good.
Absolutely. So there you go, 1957, experimental light. Now, I'm not done with the Ks yet.
Was it
because,
a sport bike?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course it was a sport, but it was a sport bike of the day.
Of their time, yeah.
Because the Sportster's arch rival always has been and always will be the British twins.
So basically, to achieve sport status in that day, it was a power to weight ratio
It's
thing.
a simple power to weight ratio. It's as simple as that. But I'm not quite done with the Ks yet, because I wanted to let people know how innovative they were. These were the first Harley Davidsons with hydraulic suspension front and rear. Bet you didn't know that. They were the first Harley Davidsons with hand clutch and foot shift.
Oh.
Bet you didn't know that. And so this set the groundwork for the Sportster. So 1957, Liza has already indicated these are very, very handsome bikes.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
At the time they're competing with the European bikes, didn't the European bikes then have the opposite controls?
No. And we're
It
going to talk about
It had
that.
already been...
That came later.
No, they had already been, what's it called? Standardized?
As always, Liza, you're getting ahead of yourself. Harley Davidson big twins were always left foot shift. Always.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Sportster, though.
Sportster was right foot shift up until 74.
Oh, so it was like the European bikes.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
And once you understand that, you understand why the Sportster was what it was.
Right.
And this is the point I want to completely stress throughout this.
I'll touch on one thing about right foot shift is that it has an advantage in dirt track racing. Because your left foot's occupied scraping along the ground, you got to be able to toe up out of the corner.
Yeah, and that's just I mean, the fact of the matter is all the British bikes were always right foot shift. And yes, it gave you an advantage, but so what do we got here? Yes, 1957, experimental lightweight. Now then, we come to a very interesting one, and maybe one of the most famous ones. XLCH. CH stands for Competition Hot.
Oh, that's right.
And that came out in 58. And Competition Hot really was a direct assault against the British bikes. The mantra for the Sportster back then, less weight, more power. The less weight we can prune off this and the more power we can put into it, the better. So the CHs and the XLCH name lasted well up until the Evos. In later years, it actually didn't mean anything. The H's, which are the kind of the entry-level models, and the CHs, towards the end, they shared exactly the same engine specs. It was really just a name.
And this is before emissions or anything like that, so these could be sold for the street?
Right, exactly. Now, 67, the electric starter came in just on the XLH. And the XLH, this was an interesting bike because they actually had to change the frame to accommodate this big 12-volt battery in the electric start. So that's when kind of the rot set in with the frames. I'm really going to sort of flesh this out. CH, the Competition Hot, was always kickstart right up until the end. We already talked about shifting. Right-hand shift went away in 75 to left-hand shift. And that was really to compete with the Japanese bikes of the time and to standardize everything. But like I say, the big twins, even when the big twins went from hand shift to foot shifting, they always shifted on the left. That was a quirk of the big twins. So you could get on like a 62, 64 Electroglide or a Hydroglide, shift on the left. Tra-la-la.
Well, you mean standard?
Yeah, exactly. So where are we?
So during this time, was there knucklehead motors? Or what
no, never on the Sportster.
Never.
The Sportster was always known as the Ironhead.
It was the Ironhead.
It never, and the Sportster engine from 57 to 84.
An Evo. Yeah.
When the Evos came in, the cylinder heads always looked the same. There's a lot of internal difference, but it was always that that iron head with what looked like shovel head cam covers on it, and that was how they looked.
All right.
Well, let's have a look here. 1972. Actually, the 883 went away, and it became 1000. And that was the only model in the lineup, and it came back with the Evos. But from 72 onwards, the 900, that was it. Your only choice was a 1000cc, which I believe was, it's like 61 cubic inches. It was something like that. It was something weird. 79, was the last year for the Kickstart only competition hot. And we're going to get into a few notables. 76 were the bicentennial bikes. And the bicentennial bikes, they were really standard bikes. They were XLHs with nice, red, white and blue paint jobs. And I think some of them actually were done at the dealership. It was really more of a graphics kit. And then we've talked about this before, the Confederate editions, which came in 77. And those were the grey bikes with the Confederate flag on them.
Battle flag, yeah.
Where the battle flag. Limited mostly to Southern dealers, but they're very, very rare and fetch monstrous money now. I want to talk a little bit about frames. As enthralled as you are with the early bikes later, in 77 they changed the frames. And in my opinion, and again, I stress this is just my opinion, it's one of the biggest mistakes they ever made, because the Sportster went from being a very lithe-looking, agile, muscular bike to more of a mini chopper. And it to me, it was a misstep that they never really recovered from in terms of style. The early AMF bikes, I've said it before and I'll say it again, these are by far the most handsome bikes Harley ever made. Doesn't mean they're great bikes, but from a look standpoint, that period really from 69 through 76, these drop-dead gorgeous bikes, absolutely gorgeous. To me, that's the high point in Sportster styling. And yeah, they had quality control issues, and
I've changed my search radius
to.
Well, I found out I was centered in Iowa. I've moved it west a bit. I just found something interesting, just comparatively.
No, come on, let's hear it.
Would you rather have a 2005 Honda Rebel for $2,500, or a 2019 Harley Davidson Street for $2,800?
Oh, that's hard.
My God.
Because we're talking about the Sportster being the redheaded stepchild. This is the clubfoot redheaded stepchild.
The only thing I would say about the Street.
I mean, it's not a bad looking bike.
No, I mean,
Can you believe that?
It's
around the same price for 2019 Harley or a 2005 Honda Rebel.
I think I would rather try and get parts for the Rebel, though. Yeah. I've got to be honest with you. Where on earth you would get parts for a Harley Davidson Street now? Because, I mean, Harley dropped that platform like a hot potato when when everybody was starting.
Except for the races, they're still racing them.
They are still. So there's probably still parts out there.
That's not a bad looking bike.
No, they're great looking bikes.
Yeah. Sorry, just had to share that.
So there we have it. I mean, that's it as far as the Ironheads go. And now we get into Evo territory. And it's worth noting that the Ironhead Sportsters actually lasted a bit longer than the Shovelhead motors. I think the Shovelheads went in 83, and the Sportsters really hung on till late 85.
When did they switch to 5-speed?
Yeah, because they were always 4-speed.
Right.
The 5-speeds came in the early 90s.
Okay.
And Sportster transmissions back in the old days were always the weak point, because they were very, very compact, and the more power you get out of these things, the transmission would go bad. But the 86s was really the start of the Evolution engine. 93, belt drive went across the board on all Sportsters. 96 was the introduction of the 1200cc that Neil loves so much. Mm-hmm. So now you had two. They went down from the 1000cc back to 883 with the start of the Evo. Then they added the 1200cc in 96. 04 rubber mount, 07 fuel injection.
So this is the Harley that I actually wanted way back in the
Oh,
day.
the XR750. Well, we're going to come to that.
Yeah. That's a 1000,
those
but
are
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. So,
Wait, can I jump in with another? Which would you rather have?
yes.
I'm finding some fascinating things here. Would you rather have a 2004 Suzuki Savage
Sauvage, darling. Sauvage.
with 6,000 miles asking $2,500 or a 2012 Harley Davidson Custom with 12,000 miles also asking $1,200. Looks like the Sportster 1200.
Wow.
A 2012 Sportster is the
that's-
same price
What's up with
as
it?
an 05 Suzuki Savage.
That's sad.
This is what
Shed a tear for it.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is what's crazy. I mean, Chris, do you just sound like the prices have just dropped out to you, or is this what you've come to expect?
The prices for the new ones, yeah, they have dropped out crazy. I mean, you can pick up, like you said, a bike that's 10 years old or less for ridiculous money these days.
Yeah, this one for $2,500 is in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Yeah.
So, Emma, one thing I'm not seeing on here are some of the really cool Sportsters.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the derivatives.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the one that Neil brought up first. So we'll talk about the XR1000 and what it is and what it isn't. So the XR1000 was just in production for 2 years, 83 and 84. It was a stroked engine. It was 1000cc. Its big thing was it had the back cylinder was kind of turned around the other way. So instead of having one carburetor nestled between the V's, you had two carburetors, one in front and one on the back, and these flared
Better
parts.
for air intake? What's the...
Yeah, I mean, it was quite a special engine. It was only ever a 70 horsepower engine. Coincidentally, it made 70 horsepower and 70 foot-pounds of torque. So it was a stout engine.
Yeah.
Great looking bike, very, very handsome bike. But it suffered from a lot of the problems that Sportsters always suffer from, that it was kind of heavy for what it was, and it had this narrow swing arm pivot. And the little quirk with Sportsters, and the lower they are in the back, the less you feel it, but they're very, very narrow where the swing arm meets the frame. And if they sit up a little bit higher, you'll lean it over and it'll go, oh, yes, 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 I like this. And then suddenly it'll dive the last bit into the corner.
That's not good.
And they are kind of scary. So, when you get up to a certain level of performance and a certain level of height in the rear shock, that becomes a bit more apparent.
So I was thinking of putting taller shocks on mine.
You'll feel it.
So you would suggest not to?
No, I suggest it's quite predictable.
Okay.
Just don't turn.
But yeah.
Well, sports is known for that.
What else should we talk about? Oh, we should talk about. No, I don't want to talk about Buell.
The XR.
Yeah.
Is that, wait, was that Evil Knievel? Did he ride an
he rode
XR?
an
Well, he rode a 750.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the dirt bike or the flat track.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll get to that.
And I mean, John's doing the competition side of it and the race side of it. These are just the street bikes. Now, let's talk about the XR1200.
Yes.
Yeah, what a great bike.
So the XR1200,
It's a good looking bike.
Oh, it
I
really is.
didn't enjoy the ride.
Great
I never
looking
rode it.
bike.
I liked looking at it. It rode like a brick.
Yeah, it's a better looking bike than a ride. And the only reason you say it rides like a brick because it promises more than it delivers.
Well, it has about 3/4 of an inch of suspension travel.
Right. But it was in production
Nothing.
from 08 until 11. Interesting enough, it was far more popular in Europe than it was in America. Did you know that?
I did not know that. Chris, have you ridden one of these?
I haven't ridden one. I sat on one, and I'm just not comfortable with that leaning forward position on any bike. It's
Riding
not
a 2x4?
It wasn't that. It was just the actual the weight and pressure on my arm.
Yeah, I just found that when you take on a performance bike, you want to have a stiff suspension, right? But when you have a heavy performance bike with a stiff suspension, you just have just a brick. It's just a brick.
Well, it needs to be set up with the right springing rates. And
but
it becomes more complicated the heavier the bike gets.
Incredibly good looking bike.
Very good looking bike. And it was really drawing on that sort of street track, flat track style that Harley really made the name with. Favorite of mine. A couple of Misfits have had them over the years. They look great in orange. They don't look quite as special in silver or black.
Tim, who was here today, he's got one.
Yeah. That's right. Tim's got one. And
so they're for people when they hear the surname Springsteen, they think Jay.
Yeah, I mean exactly those kind of people. But I mean, on paper, it's got all the right ingredients. It's got 17-inch wheels. It's got piggyback shocks. It's got all the things. Yeah, you want me to talk about that one?
This is my favorite,
which is why I've left it till last.
And I think one of the rarest and least well known.
Maybe, maybe not. I think most people have known it. So, let me think. 1977. I was having a good time in 1977. I've often said if I could get in a time machine and go back to 1977, I could quite happily dwell there.
Were you hanging out at Studio
54?
Yeah.
No, I was in England, darling.
Dancing with Cher.
Wouldn't that have been great? But there was a lot of very, very good things happening in 1977. And we need to separate reality from legend. And you're going to hear, let's cut to the chase on what we're talking about. What we're talking about is the XLCR Cafe Racer.
Yeah.
And the Cafe Racer was a Sportster-based bike with proper size wheels. It had a 19-inch front wheel, 18-inch rear wheel. Which Sportsters always used to have, I might add. Made by Leicester. They were Leicester mags, very, very handsome wheels. It had a special one-off exhaust system. It had a special coffin-shaped gas tank, very special paintwork, a special seat and tail fairing, and a gorgeous little bikini fairing.
Could we buy like an 80s Sportster?
Oh, we could turn
it into that?
Yeah, quite easily.
The
Chris, hardest.
Are you familiar with the CR? Had you heard of it before?
Yeah, no, I hadn't.
Yeah.
See? Yes. Did you look it up?
No, I have not yet.
I remember those.
So
good looking bike.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people will say, well, it started off as Willie G's own bike, and that isn't entirely true. Willie G did spearhead the project. This is Willie G. Davidson, but he spearheaded a lot of projects back then. So this one isn't any special. But the cafe racer culture, particularly in Southern California in the late 70s, was off the charts. It's hard to imagine because it's not something you immediately think about, but certainly in the cities, the cafe racer culture really had taken what we'd started in England and just extrapolated it to the nth degree. And the XLCR was really an answer to that, and it was a factory cafe racer. Absolutely gorgeous bike. It was in production 70, 77, 78, and 79. Although in truth, 79, they only made about 10 because they were just using leftover parts. Let's read some of the specs. It was only ever 57 horsepower bike, which is about Bonneville territory. A good Bonneville or a Commando's about mid-50s. 530 pounds. Oof. So she's chunky.
Yeah.
Only a 4-speeder, because there were only 4 speeds back then. Here's your prices, darling. In 1977, they sold a little over 1,900 units at $3,595. In 1978, they sold 1,200 units at 3,623, and then 9 or 10 in 79. So basically, you mean just over 3,000 units were actually sold overall?
Talking about value, I found some that sold.
Yes.
One sold this year, last month, in fact, for $9,000.
Yep.
I just found one on Bring a Trailer that sold for $12,300.
And one sold in June of 2024 for $8,500.
Right. So, I mean, they're out there. It's gonna ride like a 1970s bike. If you fancy one, it's gonna ride like one. The biggest hurdle that Harley Davidson faced in the 70s, towards the late 70s, the competition had moved. Bonnevilles and Commandos really, I mean, you could argue that was still the Sportsters competition, but the Japanese bikes were doing a much better job now. And even the Bonnevilles had 5 speeds. I mean, Bonnevilles were 5 speeds from 1973. And you had to wait a long time to 80 whatever before you could get a 5-speed Sportster. So, it kind of got left behind.
I got a question for you.
Yes.
Now, John's going to come up soon, and he is going to talk about the actual racing lineage. But was the Cafe Racer ever considered a actual racer or sport bike?
No.
It was just in style. It was
a very, very stylish limited edition bike.
And even though you said that when these Sportsters first came out, they were sport because at the time they were some of the lightest.
Right, exactly.
But by the time the Cafe Racer came out, it wasn't competing with anything.
You wouldn't call a Bonneville a sport bike at that time either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A Bonneville wasn't. It was a nostalgic bike.
Right.
The best way to describe a Cafe Racer is a Cafe Racer is no more a sports car than a Trans Am is a Ferrari.
So,
right.
The same year, you could buy a Trans Am.
Yeah.
You could buy a Ferrari Dino.
Here's what
these are very different cars.
Here's what I find interesting, though, that at that time, Harley wanted to compete with the European sport bikes and created a Sportster. Since then, there have been many iterations of sport bikes constantly improving.
Yes.
That they've never changed their sport bike. They never wanted to keep up with anything else.
Because they don't sell.
Well, they kind of focused on
it's kind of interesting, right?
The only area where they had real success was dirt track racing. And so all the culture of Sportster and sports pretension comes from dirt track racing.
Yeah.
In the earlier days of the AMA Grand National, they had a road racing part of it too. And that was also when you had to win the Grand National Championship, you had to do 3 different disciplines.
So basically 90 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
it was competitive.
It was of the time, and the name remained, but the mission changed.
Yeah.
And I think that's
90,
the best way
50.
to describe it.
No, 40.
No, 60
65.
years.
Yeah.
65 years.
Yeah.
So the difference between if you bought a Norton Commando, say in the early 70s or late 60s, the difference between that Commando and what was being raced at Isle of Man, for example, not that much. Same basic frame and geometry. Of course, the engines are built up some, but, not a lot of difference. Huge difference between a Sportster and an XR 750 that you're going to see in dirt track and before then road racing.
So, Emma, before we go to racing, did you have anything final to add?
Well, I mean,
can I ask you?
Yeah.
What is your personal opinion of the Sportster?
Oh, I think they're great. I mean, you could argue they got a lifeline when the Bonnevilles came back out in 01 because it was almost like the old days. And certainly back in England, a lot of the people who immediately said, oh, we're going to buy one of the new Bonnevilles, considered the Sportster again. And I think it's almost back to the 50s that you have two bikes, because the performance is quite similar.
Yeah.
Once you get beyond, they go about it in slightly different ways.
You say they're great, but for who? Who are they great for? What's the market now?
They are the largest selling Harleys of all.
Right.
So-
And so theoretically,
Is it a beginner bike, as many people refer to it?
it's quite a hard bike to learn on. And my only argument against Sportsters, and I think it's largely based on moronic dealer culture rather than the bikes themselves, is you'll get a beginner go down to the Harley Davidson dealer and they'll say, oh yeah, we'll teach you to ride and plop you on a Sportster. And they're not that easy
They're
to
really
ride. They're
not.
quite top heavy.
They're heavy in general too.
And they're just porky bikes.
There's no traction control. There's no ABS.
Exactly. And I mean, the new ones are better. Arguably, the Dyna is a far easier bike to ride. And then they dropped the Dyna as well. Everything's Softail based now.
Which brings me to the question, Chris, why the hell do you ride a Sportster?
It started off, that's the bike I wanted and the bike I could afford.
Okay.
And as, my riding, expanded and I went into the direction I did, which is long distance riding versus bar hopping. I for a while, I couldn't afford a bigger bike. I mean, I would have loved to have a Super Glide because it's just, it's like a 20% bigger Sportster. There's just more physical room on the bike.
Dude, you want an Electroglide?
No, I've already
Damn
had 6 motorcycles.
Damn it.
I'm already at D almost. But and then by the time I got to the point where I had my heritage Softail, it's like, well, I was kind of known as the idiot riding a Sportster at Iron Butt Rallies, so why change?
There
And
it
I'll
is.
tell you, it's really cool when you pull up at at some place, especially a dealership, on a Sportster with 200,000-300,000 miles on it. You start talking to a sales guy. It's really interesting the looks you get when you tell them how mmany miles are on your bike, and then you can show them. So
Well,
that's why I stayed with it.
when you ride it, do you feel like a badass?
I wouldn't say that. I'm happy on it. Like I said, it's the bike. I'm part of that bike. It's, I just think, and it does what I want it to do.
John, would you say that the Sportster is the right bike for you?
No,
Okay. It's the bike you got.
it's only the right bike for me because I have other bikes.
Okay.
So it fits a slot in my garage, but that's about it.
When you ride the bike, do you think about the racing legends that rode Sportsters?
No.
Yeah, no, Mert Lawwell, no.
Come on.
Yeah.
Well, you want to tell us about,
Well,
because it does have a racing
I
lineage.
have a postscript.
Oh, yeah?
Just before John,
Yes.
I have a postscript.
P.S.
A P.S. It's either a final love letter or a fart in the face, depending on your point of view.
Crop dust.
And it really is just about the XLCHs, which were the Kickstart only bikes.
Okay.
And if you go to any Harley Davidson event,
Yeah.
and you and me will probably be over at
Is it true that if you own one of these, you also have to wear a bandana 24 hours?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I thought so.
And chaps. But yeah, we're probably going to be at Corbin's on the 4th of July
Right.
weekend with a lot of other Harley people. And you'll see guys of a certain age walking with a terrible limp based on their right leg. And you'll walk up to them and you go, Sportster knee. And you'll go, Sportster knee. And he'll hobble off.
Corbin, that's a week and a half away.
I know.
July 4th.
I know.
Oh, crap.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
Are you guys going to come? Neil? John?
Yeah, I'm down.
Yeah.
Emma? John? Let's all ride our Harleys.
Yes. Oh. So anyway.
Neil, you can ride behind us.
So
Oh, okay.
what is Sportster knee? Well, I shall tell you, and I shall tell you why they did what they did. So Sportsters had this goofy kind of mousetrap kind of kickstart arrangement. And what it would do is remember the XLCH was kickstart only. And you'd get your weight onto the kickstart, you'd bring the bike up to top dead center on compression stroke, and then you'd give it a mighty kick. and the kickstart would go down halfway through down its travel and then just completely become disengaged and swing beyond 180 degrees, and basically your leg would extend and pop the wrong way, and it just pop your kneecap, and that's Sportster knee, and it crippled many young men.
Oh, God.
And that's the bad side of owning a Sportster. You could end up with
the price you pay.
The price you pay. You end up with Sportster knee. And they never really cured it. It was just like a quirk of the mechanism. So if you ever see an old Harley guy limping, just say, "Oh, Sportster knee," and I'm sure he'll say, "Oh, yeah."
Well, John, we know that the Harley racing has been revived with King of the Baggers.
It has.
Which we're going to see at Moto America coming up soon, next month. And it's really changed completely the amount of Harley guys showing up who never did. But how far back do you have to go to watch racing when it was a large Harley crowd?
Well, the Sportster raced dirt track from basically 1970 to 2015. I mean, they were racing them before, but it didn't come into prominence until 70. It was really about the British bikes before that. So you really got to get like into the late 60s and early 70s before they become really, the bike.
Emma, what is that Evel Knievel bike above your head?
That's a Sportster. It's an XR.
There it is.
It's XR 750.
XR.
Although to be said, he rode plenty of British bikes too.
He did, yeah.
I know. I was just been looking for the Sportsters in there.
Yes, look at that.
So,
that is an XR.
When you talk about racing Sportsters, like Neil said earlier, it's really about dirt track racing. They were dominant for many, 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 many years up until recently. And
can I ask, what were they competing against?
Twins. So, early on it was Nortons and BSAs
Triumphs.
and Triumphs.
Okay.
And after that it became Yamahas, Kawasaki's, anything that was a twin.
RD 350, that was what
Okay.
Kenny Roberts rode, for example.
So so you really, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the racers that rode Sportsters too. So the next type of racing that Sportsters were big in was drag racing. So the Ironhead and the Evo engines were both used in drag racing, and the era really was from the 60s on up to the present, especially with Screaming Eagle, which is the Harley performance line. And Sportsters are used in like NHRA stuff and the V-twin classes, but most of those are high compression motors, nitrous turbo setups, wheelie bars, swing arms, big gnarly, drag racing bikes.
John, for our European listeners, would you tell them what NHRA stands for?
Let's see. National Hot Rod Association.
Thank you.
It's a good part of my misspent youth going to NHRA drags up in Fremont.
So the
famous racetrack there.
The third type of racing was, of course, road racing and TT racing, and the KR 750 and its predecessors, modified Sportsters, were all racing in that. So mid 20th century, from the 50s up through probably the 70s, 80s, maybe. I'll talk a little more about that in a second. Not the best use for Sportsters, but they did use them. And especially, like Neil said, back in the day, you had to ride different disciplines. So you rode dirt track, you rode road racing, you rode TTs.
And to bring it full circle, remember, when we talk about the KR 750s, we're going full circle back to the K bikes that I talked about that were the predecessors for the Sportsters.
And don't those have lineage that dates to pre-war times too?
Not really.
Okay. So just post-war.
Yeah.
So what you'll see on those is kind of rear sets. The pegs are set back, clip-on handlebars, fairings, suspension upgrades, of course, performance upgrades and things. So the next, which is a little more current, where you'll actually see Sportsters racing today, is hooligan racing.
Ah, yeah, that's fun. They started that up
2010.
Yeah, not that long ago. Yeah.
So it takes stock. They take stock Sportsters and they leave them pretty well stock except for suspension and tires. And they go out and do ovals and dirt tracks, and it's crazy. And it's a bunch of hooligans.
So what makes are in that class besides Sportsters?
There would be I mean, the Indians will be in there with that. Some of the
Right.
Kawasaki's, some of the other things.
Isn't Arch in that class?
Who's going to run a $200,000 motorcycle in the hooligan class? I
Huh?
haven't seen an Arch in that, but they might be. I mean, they could be.
Yeah, I see promotions about how they're going to be there. So we'll see. We'll learn more.
So the next is hill climb racing. And this is ongoing to current days. Big modified Sportsters with these really long swing arms, and they go racing up the side of a mountain and flip over, and it's super fun. But the Sportsters, they're torquey motors, so that makes it good for that kind of racing. And they're built really to, claw up those big hills and stuff. So the big swing arms, they have paddle tires, they have chain drives, and they build up the
nitromethane fuel and
high output engines,
all kinds of good stuff.
And finally, the sixth place where you would have seen or still see is in land speed racing in Bonneville. So you got custom Sportster builds. Yeah, and now remember, they have different classes at Bonneville, so you'll see different things there. But there's those big aerodynamic fairings and everything else. So there's a few top racers I think we should mention that raced Sportsters or Sportster-derived motorcycles. Scott Parker, flat track, 9-time AMA Grand National Champion, rode the XR750 with 94 career wins. Jay Springsteen, Neil mentioned him a second ago, 3-time AMA Grand National Champion, very aggressive guy. Now, I remember back when I was a young man, grew up near Daytona, we would go to the races over in Daytona, and you'd see Springsteen. He'd race flat track on Friday and race street racing on his street racer bike, is Sportster called Lucifer's Hammer. That was the name of the bike. He would run that bike on Sundays. So they would go from one bike to another. So he was cool to see, but he was a badass and he was very aggressive. Chris Carr, got to meet him a couple years ago, 7-time Grand National Champion in flat track. One of the, best racers of our generation. Ricky Graham, 3-time AMA National Grand Champion, noted for his 93 season where he won 12 races all on Sportsters, Harley Davidsons. And Mert Lawwell, now a friend of the show, 69 AMA Grand National Champion. You've seen him on any Sunday riding with Steve McQueen and Malcolm Smith. He raced early versions of the KR and transitioned into the Sportster-based XR750 era, during that era. I think he was also on Triumphs and other bikes too. So we also have to mention Roland Sands, who brought the hooligan racing and friend of the pod also. I know one of my first podcasts, we actually interviewed him. He was a 250 GP national champ and then turned into a custom builder, but he created the Super Hooligan series. Certainly something you want to go look at and find because it's super fun to watch. Sportsters are the base platform there. He's not a full-time Sportster racer, but he really was behind a lot of the builds and a lot of the designs and thing. And there's another guy called Frankie Garcia, professional road racer who crossed into flat track and hooligan racing also. But he raced Indian Scouts and Sportsters in super hooligan events. And lastly, notable mention, the patron saint of the garage, Evel Knievel. Not a racer, but famous stuntman and did ride Bonneville's early, but came in with the XR 750s as that's usually the thing you'll see him on. Bringing it up until today, the current model that's being raced in flat track is the XG 750R. It's the modern. Now this thing sucked for a lot of years, but last couple of years, especially since Indian got out of flat track racing, it's coming back. So you've got Brandon Robinson, who rides the XG, Briar Bauman, and Jake Johnson. And so, I'm always encouraging you all to go out and look at flat track racing and all kinds of racing, but it's super fun to watch. But you'll see, these guys and this XG finally is a little more competitive and is winning some races this year.
Flat track racing was really the crucible that launched so many great riders' careers.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. And it still is.
And it brought, riding a little looser on the tires into road racing and other, more aggressive riding styles have their roots in flat track racing.
Now, nobody's going to claim that a Sportster is a fast bike anymore. But it does have the lineage.
Well, I'm guessing too, Emma, would you say that a lot of the reason that they're still racing them in all these categories is because the durability?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's proven.
And the simplicity.
It's such a simple engine,
Yeah.
and it's easy to tune. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago that I said it was easy back in the 70s because it was easy to make power? Because,
Yeah, right.
you know, a GS1000 was like 80 horsepower, and it was very easy to get 100 out of it. You know, a Z1 was even less. So it is with the Sportster. It's a very, very easy engine to tune. And if you actually know what you're doing, you can start getting big power out of them.
Do you sacrifice reliability, though?
Yeah, always. Because, I mean, there's always going to be a weak point. Unfortunately,
Transmission.
the Sportster's always got weak clutches and transmissions.
Yes.
You know, but there's ways around it. There's ways around everything. All you got to do is keep throwing money at them, right?
I have another search result.
Oh, do you?
I've moved across the country over to the east. I'm now in Muncie, Indiana.
Okay.
And I found a not bad looking 91 Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 for $1,500. But wait.
There's more.
This is my favorite ad so far. I want to read to you
Oh, God.
the ad description.
Yes.
Read the fucking ad, all of it, asshole. Don't message or text me, fuckers. I hate texting. If you text or message, I'll probably ignore, block, delete you, or all three. If you come to my house and don't have 15 $100 bills, you definitely gonna get fucked up. I'm some way, maybe shot. I don't know. Believe me, fuck around and find out. So here is the actual description of the bike. 91 Sporty, 1200 stage 1 setup, blown front cylinder exhaust, selling cheap because I'm fucking over it. Repo, I got the title key and the bike, 1500 firm. If you ain't got it, don't fucking call.
Wow. Somebody's got some issues.
Might
working
need
out.
some anger
Yeah,
management.
a little bit.
Uh,
Up your, I up my dose, up yours.
Exactly.
But I did find in Lima, Ohio, a 2004 Harley Davidson Sportster 1200 for $15. It needs a new shifter assembly.
That can't be right. $15. That can't be right.
Yeah.
$1,500.
That's my guess.
Oh, it's road rashed on the side. So they scraped it up. But I'm just saying, you know, it can be right. If, again, as I'm suggesting, buying a Sporty to chop up, to turn it into something fun. This, I mean, Emma,
Make a cafe racer.
could we
out of
make
it.
a CR out of that?
Oh, God, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's okay if it's rashed like that.
That should be your next project, Liza.
Oh, I got to get rid of this Harley. But this is my point. The Sportster is the perfect playground for somebody who wants a project.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we've already established you can't make it worth less. Right?
It's true.
Here's a good running rashed bike for $1,500 or a blown
Right.
motor for $1,500, but a clean bike. I mean,
And
this is that's the bottom. That's the bottom of the barrel.
And I would absolutely buy a Sportster.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'd be rather picky if I was buying a Sportster. Probably my ideal Sportster would be a 74. 73 or 74.
1,000.
And to me, no, the year.
Right, no, 1,000 cc.
Yes.
Yeah.
And to me, that was the absolute peak of design. You want to talk when Sportsters were the most handsome? The 73 and 74 Sportsters, particularly
The
in
AMF.
gold.
DMF years.
Oh my God, that's a handsome bike.
Yeah, I
Emma?
agree.
I'd probably spend the rest of my life trying to get it reliable, but I don't care.
I found a Harley for you earlier.
Oh, did you really?
Remember the one in Aurora?
Yes.
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 I found another, but that was one of the older Aramaki.
Yeah.
I found
The
it for you.
Rapido.
And tell me if this is worth it.
Let's
It's
have a look.
$2,500.
Oh, it's one of them.
Is it a Sprint?
It is a 250 SS. It's one of the Air Mackies. Fantastic.
1976, is it?
Yes.
Where is this bike?
This is in Sherwood, Ohio.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's been painted, but I tell you what.
I would say don't cut that up, restore it.
No, that's put a stock paint job on, because when this bike was new, this would have had a paint job not dissimilar to the one on my Superglide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you've got
blue shades.
You've got 2, and you put the miles on. Is there any part you cannot find for your Sportster?
I think some parts are getting hard to find. Like at least like a stator and a regulator for my 06, I can't find. Like not from Harley. I think I can still get aftermarket, but there are a few parts that are getting harder and harder to find. If you go back to the pre-rubber mounts, some of the side covers, like there's in my opinion, a weak spot.
Right.
I believe it's the right foot peg bolts to one of the side covers.
Oh, yeah, and it cracks.
If you drop it, you snap it. Well, those, you can't find them anymore. So you could drop your bike and total it because you don't have a place to put a foot
And
peg.
there's no aftermarket for that?
Right.
No.
No,
Not
and I mean,
really.
if you know a decent welder, they may be able to hook you up. But, the problem is these are die-cast aluminum casings, and they are quite tricky to weld. So, yeah, tra-la-la.
I'm not saying I'm ready to get a Sportster because I got this Electroglide I got to get rid of. But I don't know. I would consider, at the right price, that would be a fun project to build out one of these.
Well, I know a very, very easy way, the easiest way in the world for you to just put 6,000 smackaroos in your bank account.
Nope.
See, I'm playing fire with fire.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah, you can see that,
No flawless victory here.
Well,
Yeah,
hey, Liza, I also do own 2 Wranglers, so.
There you go. Well, here's what I'm hoping with the Sportster episode. I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping that people will show them some love. That if you're a non-Harley rider, you consider getting a Sportster. And if you're a Harley rider, why not get a Sportster and have a fun toy to play with?
And I mean, they're so iconic. I mean, the Sportster shape of fuel tank is instantly recognizable.
Honestly, yeah.
Instantly.
If I was to get one of these older Sportsters, like find an 80s one and try and make it look like a 57, that would be really cool.
Yeah, it would.
That two-tone paint on the tank.
But if you see, I remember a couple of years ago at the Quail, there was a 62 in like a pearl teal and white. And God, it was breathtaking. It was just like, oh.
I can't remember that bike.
Oh, it is so beautiful. Just the proportions, the styling. It really was breathtaking. You remember it very well.
Yeah, I do, yep.
Yep.
Well, I hope that listening to this episode has given people a little more respect.
Yeah, respect the Sportster, or I shall come round and fight you.
Hug your Sportster
Hey,
rider
Liza,
friend.
there's one more thing I wanted to throw out there on the Sportsters, because I've talked about, how I've ridden mine in, 4.5 Iron Butt Rallies. 2007, there was a gentleman.
Did you say 4.5?
4.5. Because it died in, near Zizix. In 2007, there was a gentleman by the name of Brett Donahue that rode his Sportster, and he finished 3rd place in the Iron Butt Rally. 11,300 miles, 11 days. That is the highest placed finish for a Harley Davidson in the Iron Butt Rally.
It's the little bike that could.
Well, it's his rationale for running, which was kind of partly mine too, was for a Harley, it's a relatively light motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
So, and when you're doing things like we are doing in the Iron Butt Rally, where you might be on twisty, dark roads, slow, you might have to back the bike up, maneuver it around to get bonuses all. It's a lot easier to do it on a 600-pound bike than it is a 900-pound bike.
Right.
So.
True that. Well, thank you for sharing. So, yeah, Harley's Sportster, cooler than you think.
I'd love to hear from our listeners who have Sportsters and what you love about it or don't like about it.
Fair enough. How do they reach us?
And if your dad or grandpa is suffering from Sportster knee, we'd love to hear from him.
How do they reach us, John?
I was going to say, Steph, you better write in because Steph owns a Sportster as well.
Okay.
Motorcycle Misfits at Recycle Garage.
Yeah, just trying to say it without slurring. Okay, let's get to a couple emails I have on here. And Emma, you have one too.
I do.
This one, somebody's looking for our help. It says, Dear Misfits. Oh, this is from Alex G. Says,
Is he the OG?
Oh, Alex G.
Alex G. Dear Misfits, hello. Hope
Correct.
you all have been well. Liza,
We
I hope your
have.
travels have been safe and enjoyable.
They were, I believe.
I have a question that I would really love and appreciate your take on. I currently own a 2019 Honda CRF 250L Rally that I love dearly.
That's a lovely bike.
That's the one that Jim had.
Yep.
However, after 6 years of ownership and nearly 10,000 miles, I feel I've gotten to the same place Jim got with his. I want more power.
Yep.
My Rally gets ridden a good bit on the street, so part of the appeal of that bike to me was the fairing windshield and a slightly wider seat than a typical dual sport. Even though I have other street bikes, I still enjoy the Rally on road, despite it being more off-road focused. My off-road riding consists of gravel and dirt roads, nothing too gnarly, and well within the bike's capabilities. I have come to 2 decisions and would love your all's thoughts on it. Do I send the Rally's engine off to have a big bore kit professionally installed, or do I replace the bike altogether? The big bore kit would allow me to keep the Rally, but may compromise reliability.
Yes, it will.
Furthermore, while I'm mechanically inclined, I'm no engine builder. Even though I enjoy working on my bikes immensely, I'm not into heavily modifying them from standard, i.e. big bore kits. Even with it being professionally done, reliability would always be in the back of my mind.
Right.
Second option is to replace my Rally. After much researching and demo riding, I've decided that a Royal Enfield Himalayan 450 is a good replacement. It would give me the power I'm looking for in a decently off-road ready package, but still have a wider and more comfortable seat for the long days I spend riding. And before Liza chimes in, I've looked at KLR 650s and think they're just too big. Sorry,
Yeah.
Liza. So what do you think? Modifier or replace? Thank you in advance for any opinions, and I hope y'all have a great start to an official summer.
Well,
Before you say anything, I want to see what Chris thinks since he's joining us. Chris, modify or replace?
If you can do the work yourself, I would lean towards modify. The problem with paying someone to modify, you're going to spend an awful lot of money that you could put towards something different that might be closer.
Right.
What would it cost to punch that out?
Well, here's the thing. If somebody brings in an engine to me and they want it hopped up, and I truly believe I'm competitive with this, so I'm going to be throwing some fairly chunky numbers around. If somebody wants a big bore top end put on their bike, I'm pulling the whole engine. And the reason I'm pulling the whole engine, I want to make sure the crank's up to snuff. I want to make sure that the main bearings, the oil pump. So basically, here's what it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you $1,000 to build the engine. It's going to take me probably an hour and a half to take it out and put it back in. So it's going to cost you about $1,450 in labor.
And when you say hopped up, it's going to go from a 250 to what?
Well, probably a 300.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only problem is inevitably whenever you add more power to an engine, even when you use good quality parts, you are going to lose reliability. I'm inclined to agree with him on the KLR.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw another bike in the mix.
Well, hold on. What's
Yeah.
wrong with the Royal Enfield?
There's power's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
On the new 450?
the 450. It's not a bad bike.
Yeah,
No,
it's better.
I like it, but it's not.
Right.
Not
Remember,
that
we saw
much
the 450 up at the one show.
It's not that much better
yeah,
than
it's not going to have the
250.
kind of snap and
Right.
and roost that.
The 250
the
did not have the
250
snap.
had.
No,
Yeah.
the 250 didn't have the
I
snap.
mean, my only concern would be long-term reliability because I do look after a couple of very, very late Royal Enfields and they're mostly reliable, but they do goofy things, you know.
And I want to say the interesting thing, because I had the 250 also, I found it quite enjoyable on the street. It was on the dirt that I
That you found it
anyway.
lacking.
But on the street,
So
fine.
it's the CRF 250?
So,
That's the same with the 300. The usual complaint about that bike is the suspension is pretty soft.
Right.
And so they didn't change that when they punched it out to a 300. It's still that way. That's a fixable problem. It's Showa components and you can get your shocks revalved to do whatever you want.
Not cheap, though.
No, that costs you money. The KLX 300 has better suspension. Less torquey of a motor, but, puts out about the same horsepower. both have fairly flat, wide seats, so they're still fairly comfortable if you have to put some miles on tarmac. So basically they're both good worthy refreshes off the CRF 250.
See, this is the problem. There's not many 400 class motorcycles out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got the DRZ, unless you want to get into KTMs and Husqvarnas, and that's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a subject for another day.
Yeah.
CB 500X.
Depends on what kind of dirt he's riding in.
I'm gonna give you the right answer.
Stretch booster.
The right answer is don't modify. You're not gonna get your value out of it. You're gonna lose that money.
Yeah, just get the Enfield and enjoy it.
What I think you're gonna want, since you're doing mostly street, but some like trails and stuff, I think the Royal Enfield is a good candidate. I think you also, if you're looking at that, you need to look at the CF Moto 450 Ibex.
That's true. I agree with that.
Well,
these are both.
So I'll add.
These are both street bikes that are dirt capable, where the CRF is a dirt bike that is street capable.
And I'm going to say it. You know what I'm going to say.
I don't know what you're going to say.
Yeah, you will.
Does it start with a D and end with a Z?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
It does not. But you're close.
Yeah.
So if you're riding is more, like fire roads, lightweight stuff, but you're wanting something that has more legs.
No.
For distance and is more. No.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
I'm going to.
What are you going to say?
Don't say it, Neil.
V-Strom 650.
No, that is a street bike.
No,
Neil.
Properly set up.
No, Neil.
It's every bit the bike.
No.
What about the new Triumph 400 Scrambler?
That's a good choice too.
No.
No? On a Triumph?
Look,
no, that's
going from a very
one.
Lightweight CRF 250. Really, I think that the CF Moto and the Royal Enfield are two great options that are going to bump it up in weight. I really think that the other
what is a Royal Enfield weigh?
I don't know, but those are bigger bikes.
Pounds?
But what I'm going to say, take a look at a used DRZ 400E.
No, don't get the E. It's not street legal. We got to get the S for street legal.
Oh, the S. Look at a DRZ 400S.
Well, now they just have the new DRZ.
The problem, they're tall though. He's going to have to deal with that.
but I'm just saying throw that into the mix because that is exactly what you want.
They're cheap as chips.
Something
right now,
that is a dirt bike
for the new one
that is very street capable. A dirt bike that is street capable, that's lightweight, but has that extra power. Those are, three bikes to check out.
Or pull the trigger and get the CRF 400. Like Jim has.
No, that's a 450, and that's a $10,000 bike.
Yeah, and that has dirt bike maintenance schedules. You'll do the valves every 2,000 miles or so.
So, yeah, just get the bike you like. You'll like the Royal Enfield.
Yeah, I think with the CF Moto and the Royal Enfield, they're both good bikes.
I don't agree with that. I think they're going to be disappointed in the suspension.
You've not ridden them, but we will this next month. But I think what it comes down to is, do you have a dealer near you, a CF Moto or a Royal Enfield dealer? And that's what I think it comes down to.
Or a spirited independent.
Emma, do you have an email there?
I have here from Phil the Mank.
Phil.
Another question for Emma. All right, Phil, I'll do my best. When I was a kid, Birmingham was more often than not described. If you wanted to give England an enema, Birmingham is where you stick the tube. And that is largely true. However, you see, this is based on jealousy from people from Manchester wanting to be the second largest city, but they never will be, because the largest city in the UK is London, and the second largest, Phil, will always be Birmingham.
Fighting over second.
Yeah, I mean, it is.
But seconds count.
But Birmingham will always be the second largest city, no matter what people from Manchester think. But we're not talking about that now. But for a few years in the 70s, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest were inventing metal. Noddy and Slade were dominating the charts, which they did. Slade was a very good band fronted by
Slade.
Yeah, Noddy Holder, who always seemed to wear a top hat with chromium discs all over it. He was a good egg. And, Robert Plant was becoming the legal definition of a rock god, which he was. Mm-hmm. There must have been quite the scene. And there was. And Birmingham was centre of something special. Since biker and musician communities often overlap, I wanted to ask Emma, has any cool related stories from back in the day? Oh, fuck me, Phil. I've got so many. P.S. listening today to how can you not be in awe of anyone who starts their story? This involves a fatality, but back then I was driving Greyhound buses. I never killed anyone in my Greyhound bus, but if you're driving the streets if you're driving highways in California at 5 o'clock in the morning, you're going to see some goofy stuff. But, I was enormously lucky to be the age I am in Birmingham. And I can't stress how great the scene was back then. You could go to any larger pub or club in Birmingham and see a band on a Friday night or a Saturday night. And yeah, the preppy kids had their clubs and their nightclubs. They had the Belfry in Sutton Coldfield. And then us bikers, we had the Golden Eagle, which was in downtown Birmingham. And what the Golden Eagle was, like so many places, it was built right before the Second World War and as really a dance hall. And it had this giant upstairs with a sprung dance floor.
How much did you charge the soldiers for a dance?
Before my time, darling. The military two-step, don't mind if I do. But of course, by the time the 70s came along, these places were all kind of like a little bit seedy and a little bit down at heel. And it was the perfect venue to have some big name acts, not just ones from Birmingham. I've seen Black Sabbath there. I've seen Deep Purple there. I've seen Judas Priest there. I've seen the Scorpions. I have seen, God, who else? There was so many, a lot of punk bands. And then, of course, you could go and there'd be a disco just for rock music. And it was brilliant.
Did you see The Clash?
Oh, I've seen The Clash. Not there,
Oh.
but I've seen The Clash. I saw the Pistols. I saw the Damned. I saw the band. It was the 70s in inner city England, whether you're in Birmingham, whether you're in Manchester, or whether you're in London, it was an amazing scene. And to me, it will always be inextricably linked with the bikes.
Just curious, this club, what'd you say it was called that you hung out at?
The Golden Eagle.
Would you ever see a Sportster parked out front?
Funnily enough, the thing I remember the most about Birmingham, because what you've got to remember, and, like it or not, Phil, Manchester's the same. There wasn't a great deal of money about back then. And there weren't a great deal of Harleys around back then.
All right. So that's the foreign exotic bike.
It really was. I don't remember that many ever. And if you saw a Harley, it was always a Harley. It's special because there wasn't that many people with them. I had a GS1000 back then, and that was not an expensive bike to buy. And if you were broke, you could find yourself an old 750 Honda or even a Bonneville for like a couple of £100, and you do a bit of work on it, and then you'd be riding it around. It was brilliant,
You still can?
Well, truthfully now, yeah, you still can, but it's a little more work involved.
And where did the hose get inserted?
Mostly in, Birmingham.
Enema of the state,
Birmingham suffered a lot of stick over the years, and I think a lot of it is based on its location, because it's certainly not the north, and it's certainly not the south. The Midlands, it's
right between the butt cheeks, apparently.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of great bands came out of Birmingham. There are more miles of canalway in Birmingham than there are in Venice. That's a fact that will just blow your mind away. And, the area around Birmingham, it's really the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. So you could argue, without Birmingham, you got nothing. So there you have it.
There you go. Well, Chris, where are you riding to tomorrow?
I don't remember. I don't remember where the checkpoint is tomorrow.
Another 500 miles?
Well, enjoy your X-Max, because I am told it's a great scooter. Is it proving quite comfortable, or is your butt hurting mightily?
Well, I like all my motorcycles. I did some upgrades to it. So I bought Yamaha's Comfort Seat, which helped tremendously. But they're hard to get. I had to buy mine from the UK. You can't get them in the US. But no, so this with the Scooter Cannonball this year. There's 25 Iron Butt Rally finishers that have entered the Scooter Cannonball. Of those, half of them are riding X Maxes.
Wow.
And we did have one that had a battery went bad today. I helped. I won't mention her name, but I helped someone, with her husband and friend, get her bike started because we think the cell she lost the cell in the battery because it was only putting out 6 volts. But the state once we got it running, it was charging full bore. So we kind of.
Do you know why those bikes are so popular? Those scooters?
For us, because they're big and they're comfortable.
Well, the seat is wide enough to have the enema hose come up through the middle. That's what they have in common with Birmingham. Did you know that, Emma?
My God.
There's some scooters out there with bigger seats than the X-Max, though.
I'm teasing. Well, Chris, I wanted to thank you for joining us because I know as somebody who's put a lot of miles on a Sportster, you're kind of the credibility that a Sportster can do great things. And let's give Sportsters some love. So as John said, let us know if you got a Sportster. Let's hear your Sportster stories, why you ride a Sportster and why you think they're not getting the love they deserve. Yep. Sound good? So you can send that email to motorcyclesandmisfits@gmail.com. Also go to our website, motorcyclesandmisfits.com. Got t-shirts for sale.
Yeah, go buy you one.
Yeah, get one of the new t-shirts.
Get in on it.
Chris, did you get your new t-shirt? Did you
get
you got your new t-shirt, yeah?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
I grabbed the wrong one. That's why you got the picture of the old one.
Well, Chris is wearing one of the Misfit shirts on the tour. So thank you very much for representing on the Cannonball. I appreciate that. And thank you for being a Patreon supporter, Chris. Now I get to thank somebody right to them. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the support.
Yeah, your contribution really keeps this thing alive. Without our Patreon subscribers, there would be no podcast. I want to make that absolutely clear.
Yeah, well, no, there wouldn't be any food in my fridge either.
Yeah, right. No, you're keeping Liza alive right now, and thus, projecting that means there's a podcast.
And Chris, will you make sure Michelle knows about Wur and Weema?
I didn't hear that. I joined late, so I didn't hear you talk about that.
Well, you're going to have to listen now. Make sure she knows. Join us at the Weema rally in September in Poland, Maine, and sign up on the Wur site because the Wur rally is coming back.
When in September?
It is September 9th, I think I said.
Okay.
And
it's not going to be hard for her to find.
Yes.
Okay.
WeemaUSA.com. So thanks, everyone. Time to get out of here. I appreciate you all. This is Liza.
Stubby John.
Emma, darling.
It's Neil.
And Chris.
And we are out of here.
Cool.